In the name of God, who made Moscow, the city at the head of two rivers, whose arms to the east is the river to Volga, to the Caspian Sea, and to the west is the river Dnieper that leads to the Black Sea. We are discussing the 5 seas of the Middle East. 1 is the White Sea, 2 is the Black Sea, 3 is the Caspian Sea, 4 is the Arabian Sea or the Persian Sea, and 5 is the Red Sea. These are the 5 seas of the Middle East, and this is the center of the world economy because 4 continents are here. And then there's another continent here, and there's another continent here, and there's another continent here. And all of them cannot cross this way. They must cross this way because it's the most powerful economic travel is this way. And that is why this is the center of the economy of the world. And if there was ever an attack on the economy, they would try to stop it here at the heart. This is also very significant about the heart of the world economy, is that there is a 100-year oil and gas war, and that is because of the power that the iron machines and the gas that fuels them has over the economy. It is the new most powerful force of any economy, the machines, and therefore the iron and the gas. So that makes an economy the biggest one and the strongest one. And you have to have the two, the iron and the gas. So that is the need for the world trade in this day. Every country must have the balance of the iron and the gas in order to improve and make up this infrastructure for the economy, for the population of the economy. And so you see, Syria and Iraq is the heart of this. And this river, Euphrates and River Tigris, is the heart of the world economy here, which this waterway, now that we have the power to travel big and far, this waterway is not as powerful as it had been for thousands and thousands of years. And now the most powerful waterway is the White Sea to the Red Sea and out into the Arabian Sea, across the Indian Ocean and over to the Asian Pacific, the South Seas, the South Pacific. So this is the most powerful waterway, and we discussed the 5 pearl cities of the 5 seas where man himself had decided this is our base where we will put everything. And they began to put everything that they had, more powerful. Those are Tehran, Basra, Cairo, Damascus and Jerusalem, and Istanbul. So there is a city with 2 arms, there is a city that for him these seas are his front door to the world, to the world. And that is a very significant, and there is no other city like this in this area of the 5 seas. This is the only city anywhere near the five seas that has this power. And the power is the city has a river whose right arm is the river to the Caspian Sea, one of the five, and whose left arm is the river Dnieper that goes to the Black Sea, another of the five, with his water to the Caspian. He is landlocked. He must travel by land, and his economy can float like a dream down this river onto this blue sea and connect with all of this. The only place that this river Volga cannot connect is southward, and this is because there is mountains here that block this power city. This is a pearl of the Arabian Sea, and it's Tehran. And these mountains are 4,000 to 6,000 feet high. They stop trade, or they make it a cold and hard, very hard, and very expensive travel. So this is the wall. It's a fortress to the back of Tehran. It's a fortress from the Volga River that is the delta for the Caspian Sea. And this city, Moscow, it's here. It is exactly here on my finger. And that means that he is near to the Black and near to the Caspian. For Moscow, the more important sea is this Dnieper River. It is his west arm of Moscow, the western arm. It's a Dnieper River, and it goes down into the Black Sea, and its delta is here on the shores of the Black Sea. It goes from the north of Moscow around to Kiev and down to the delta of the Black Sea. And therefore, when you touch this Black Sea, you can get through the gateway of Istanbul. And when you pass the gateway of Istanbul, this is the door to all of the world. So Istanbul is the door of Moscow. It is Moscow's door. You must open him if you wish to travel the world. That would mean you need to come out of the Black Sea into the White Sea and ask, please allow me to pass into the Red Sea, and then I will pass to all of the rest of the world. And we will search this geography now. Here is Moscow, and here is my two rivers. If I am Moscow, I can travel slowly with all of my packages across this land. Or I can, and much of the world is not in the mountains, and it's not very far away from the land. And why? Because the world needs to stay together near the water, and they focus near the shores, because this is how you can get more of the works of man, things that you can get from these places that I do not have here. So, and things from these places, they come easy on the water here, and even from these places, this is United States, and this is South America, and I would certainly just quickly make my way here, and then I would have all of the world, the door of all of the world. This is Moscow here. So for Moscow to cut a river from Moscow is to cut his arm, is to cut part of his body. So economically for Moscow, and especially because, as we know, Russia has built his economy with a small number of men and a gas business. And he thinks this makes him a powerful country because he has a security force for his gas company. But, and that means all of his gas is his economy. He is trying to use a gas for an economy, exactly as, and this is why all of the Middle East is the center of power, and why the Middle East has had this life from the start of the oil wars in 1900, in the years 1900, from the start of the oil wars, because he was trying to raise an economy on gas alone. And they make themselves rich off of this, and they don't have any they are not interested in using all of this gas money from his business in working the city and making the city bigger and making it more beautiful. Why? Because he is a man. The men are not allowed to have what was given to all of the people by God. He has stolen from the people, and he has taken something given by God. And because of this, he is standing on this mountain of gold, and our cities are broken. So he has no right, in the name of God, for this economy to have a gas economy. And he is why this has come to pass. And now they are doing it again. This is why Russia has suffered. Also, Stalin killed Russians. He has nobody there anymore. It's half of all of the country. It's disappeared. He didn't want them there. He didn't want the economy. He didn't want the population. So he wanted to make an economy with gas only. And the Hitler did this. If you don't know, Hitler went door to door looking for not Sunnis or the Shia, but the Jews. And he said, anyone who has the German birth certificate or the Polish, any Germans and Polish, if you are a Sunni, I need you out now and come in the work camp with me. And he did this with the Germans, and he did this with the Polish. So they wanted to clear this from the natural economy, and they wanted to put their new economy there. And the power in these cities became very big in this time, with that economy. And for Syria, it was some gas, but mostly phosphate here. And why could that be? Because phosphate is very heavy and very expensive to move around, but it's very needed for chemicals. So why do you need to move the phosphate from the deserts of Libya when you have him here where you need him in the center of the world? It's very easy. Just open the shop here. And that's what they did. And that's what made Syria number one. She is a center for the phosphate industry. And she has her own gas supply. And the last thing needed for a powerful economy is the iron. You cannot have a machine. You can have gas, but you cannot have the machine without the iron. So you would need iron ore. And there's maybe some here in these black rocks near the South Damascus and Dara, but it's not near the power that these mountains have. The mountains have the iron, and this is what makes Tehran the most powerful and that it could never end, and you could never kill and destroy her or stop her. And that Moscow will never control Iran because this mountain is made by God. It stopped him. This is the Caspian Sea, one of the 5 seas of the Middle East. And they are part of the Middle East. This is part of the Middle East. It cannot be separated from the Middle East. No matter how Persian they are speaking, it could never be separated from the economies of the Middle East. The only way for Tehran to go, it's this way. This is his right arm and his wife, and this is his child. There is no economy for Tehran without this. There is nothing. There is no life. There is no economy for Tehran without this Basra. He cannot live. And he has not. And so you know, and now you know. And this is the other sea, so Moscow. So here we are looking at Moscow. Now, what's important, here is Moscow, the city Moscow. It's a very big city. It's very angry. Okay, I don't need this problems. Okay, and this is Moscow, and these are 2 of the 5 seas of the Middle East, and this one is the power door accessing all of the world. And this is the river Volga, and this is the river Dnieper. They are the rivers that have river deltas upon the shores of the Black Seas. Now, there is something significant more about the Moscow, and that is, let's see what we can get here. This is the one I wanted. So, the significance about the river Moscow, about the city Moscow, is that Moscow, it's very green, and it's not, does not have very many mountains. And around him is 5 rivers. So here is Moscow. And here is the river Volga. And here, or rather, the Volga goes down here, the river Volga. And here is the river Dnieper. So as you see from Moscow, there's 2 great rivers. They start in the north of him. So this is all of Moscow, from the north, the south, the east, and the west, all of Moscow. It's the heartland of 5 rivers, and 2 rivers are the right arm and the left arm to the 2 seas of the 5 of the Middle East. This is everything. This is all of his life, and it tells you everything about who Moscow is. And now, while we were talking about these 5 rivers, and we were talking about the 2 arms, and I am telling you that Moscow is the city at the head of 2 rivers, who are the arms of the east and the west to the 2 seas of the Middle East, the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea. This interview was, now I am writing this paper for you on February 9th, Friday. This is after this crazy interview. And so here is just a big game. This is just a big game. This is the most garbage that I've ever seen. This is every word that comes out of his mouth was garbage, lies that have no sense of reality in this world. He is talking total propaganda, Disneyland things. Total Disneyland. This is the political level understanding of the world, which is no understanding. It's a childish understanding. The only words of this 2 hours that are important is the first 5 minutes. And that is when he told you the one part that you thought meant nothing. And I promise you, this man is garbage. This man, his name is Tucker. He is 100% paid money, cash in the pocket from the oil companies. This man is not your friend. This man is not innocent. This is a total lie, a 100% lie. He knows exactly the true story about what this is. And they're saying, you are a history major. This is why I need you to know. This is the wrong man. You don't need a history major. You need a geography student. You need an 8th grade geography student. And it's just preposterous. The only thing that he said that meant anything was when he told you that in the year 1800, and the same after the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and this is the Roses for Damascus, on June 1, every man and woman and child who can walk must take a flower to Damascus and Sednaya and tell them to open these doors and to allow all of the people in the jails free, because we are not afraid. And this is the only thing that that man said that had any start in reality was when he said that in the year 800, after the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, there was this prince named Rurik, and that he established Novgorod. And Novgorod is here at this where the rivers Volga and Oka, which is the north and the south of Moscow, these two big and very important rivers, where they come together is Novgorod. And he said that back in 800 that this Prince Novgorod, of the prince here, he is controlling the two rivers, the river Volga and the river Dnieper, and that he was able to control Kiev. And where is Kiev? Kiev is, here is Moscow, here is the river Volga, here would be this other river Oka, here would be Novgorod, and here would be Kiev. Here on my, here is the Dnieper. It would start around here, up in around the north area of Moscow. And the Dnieper goes around to Kiev. And here is Kiev. So he is trying to tell us that back in the 800, there was a king that's controlled Novgorod and Kiev. And because he controlled Novgorod and Kiev, he had the Russian Empire, it was together, it was whole. So he said that after this time, and this prince died, that there was a fight for the power of the kingdom, where the sun, it was not big enough to control the kingdom, and he did not have, it was a small sun, so he did not have any power or any intelligence or any ability to control this new baby Russia. And because of this, the brother of the prince took control and made it as his will. And his will was to separate and to allow someone weaker, not strong, to buy and control Kiev, such as the grandfather of Zelensky and Biden, and then that or the grandfather of Trump, and they controlled Kiev, and they have this economic base, and they have cut the power of Moscow. They have cut his west arm off, and he cannot access the Black Sea through the waterways, which, you know, Moscow is the city of 5 rivers, and those rivers are everything for thousands of years. And now the power of the engine, it's making these waterways 10 times more powerful and faster. So this is the problem of Moscow, and nothing that these 2 actors said it means anything. All of this 2 hours was total lies and have nothing to do with reality. That it is made for a bunch of 18-year-olds going to college to stand around and say, oh, I wish the world was better, and not be able to do anything about it, and to have no clue or nothing. This is total garbage. It's made to waste your life. And there is many channels now talking about the war in Ukraine who are wasting their life. Hour after hour, minute after minute, day after day, he is talking politics of this and politics of that, with no understanding of the reality that is coming up over the horizon, and no ability to prepare for this, and no understanding that you are the target. He will be coming for you. Not for the military installations, for the people. He'll be coming to destroy the economy of the city and to control it. All right. So, and this is his helper man. So now we are breaking open this curtain. We are pushing open the door, and we are opened him with the key and push this aside, and he's gonna face us. We're here now. You have 2 rivers, the left and the right arm, leading to the most powerful force of the economy in the world, the 5 seas. And this is everything. And no one gets by. Nobody comes from the north unless they come through Istanbul. And Istanbul is part of the Middle East. Istanbul could never be part of Europe unless Europe is getting married with the Middle East. And they have, if you don't know, you see all of Europe has fully married with the Middle East in the last 100 years. There is a full marriage here of Europe with the North Africa, especially, and even into the East. And the Moscow is nothing without the Middle East, and cannot be. He will die without the Middle East. It will die without Europe. This is a battle of life and death for Moscow, and don't be surprised and let them lie to you about who they are coming, what they are coming to do. I will finish just by reading this lastly. Moscow is Eastern Europe. The border of Moscow, the border of Russia starts here, just west, or rather east, just east of the Dnieper. It's a 2,000 kilometer long river that extends from the aquifers of northern Moscow. And it goes to the Black Sea. It is one of the 5 seas of the Middle East. It allows the East and the West to communicate via waterways. East of the Dnieper, where Moscow is located, lies the confluence of the Oka in the river in the south and the most influential river in the history of the Russian Empire, the Volga River. The Volga River is 3,000 kilometers long, and all of the life of Russia must live near the water. It's going to live on the river. That's where you'll find their life. There's nearly 25 million people here in the metropolis of Moscow. The life of Russia is here. They're all here, and they're here on the river, and they're not over in Siberia where the oil fields are, the gas. It begins in the steppes of northern Moscow, and it runs east of Moscow. It means the confluence of the river south of Moscow in a city named Novgorod. It is here southeast in the Moscow that at the confluence of the 2 rivers that the Volga bends southwards, and it goes right south into the Caspian Sea, one of the 5 seas of the Middle East. Moscow is east of the Dnieper, which flows into the Black Sea, and it is west of the Volga River, which flows into the Caspian Sea. 5 rivers originate in the plains north, south, and west of Moscow. And the Volga River is the eastern shield, and the people live there on the eastern shield on the river, which is the strong economic base of power that Moscow has developed due to the emergence of the 5 rivers in the steppes and the highlands and the ground aquifers of Moscow, and his only way to go. And for that, we must understand Moscow must be free. Moscow must be freed. This is not about the freedom of Ukraine. Never. This is not about the freedom of Israel or Syria. Never. This is about Tehran and Moscow. They are our long lost husbands, the husbands of the Middle East, or the wives. They are your wife. Your wife, it's Moscow, and your wife, it's Tehran. And those cities we must have in a peace. We cannot have bad rulers. Never. Not for 1 minute. Never, not for 1 minute. We must understand this. That Tehran must be released in order to allow. You have taken away the wife of Tehran, and you have made Tehran an hell, and you have refused to face the bad leader of Tehran and take out that bad man. You have cut the arm of Moscow and taken away the wife of Moscow, and it must be given back. And the bad man in Moscow, it must be finished and out. The government must be out, and it must be a true and good husband in this economic marriage. Allahu Akbar. This was written on Friday, February 9th by your loving daughter, Catherine L. Wan.